Welcome all, this is Raymond for Stream Gamers. I received off of a video that I did just recently about creating a hanger in Blender, a three-part series. I received a message from a subscriber, commenting person, asking about this, the lighting, and did I download that asset from somewhere, which I said no, I said I created it. So in lieu of that, I thought I would spend a little bit of time here and show you how I would go about creating a light. I'm going to create a relatively simple light, but you can extrapolate this and how you do that with different lightings that you make. Meantime, I'm going to delete the camera. I'm going to go here, unit. I always do it in Imperial, which is okay. So then I'm going to get that highlighted and press the N key to bring up that menu. Tools, no, hang on. Edit mode, no, I want object mode. I want this menu up here. Okay, so we're going to, first of all, we're going to get to the front face. There's our front face. The X is going to be 24 inches, the Y is going to be 12, the Z is going to be also 12, and so that will become our light fixture. We can bring that up 6 inches to bring that on top of the grid. That's going to be it. Now, I'm going to create a bit of a rounded surface here just to show you how I do with that. So object mode, yes. Select that. Oops, select that. Come on, the tool mode is what I want. Okay, so I'm going to pick that edge because that's the edge that we're going to bevel. Actually, before we do that, we're going to verify our scaling. Our scaling is important before we do a bevel. So object, apply, scale. It needs to be 1-for-1 before we actually do this. So now if I click that edge and click over here on the bevel tool, see that little doodaddy thing? We're going to move this thing in a direction such as that. And we're going to call this 4 inches and we're going to call this 16. Now the 16 segments is what kind of creates that rounded edge. If you just wanted this straight bevel like this, you could do that. And actually I'm going to show you what it looks like if we put 16 in there. It creates the bevel, but I don't want that. What I want is I want it to just be industrial beveled like that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take all of these entities and we're going to create individual faces, as I've done before, so that you'll see later on the importance of that. This being the front, so select wall dash F. Whoops, I guess I didn't do that. Wall dash F. This being the back. Some of this stuff you've seen before, and so I'm going to hopefully just blast through it. If you haven't seen it before, there's a series of 3 videos in which I did explaining this whole process in much more detail. It's by the way, it's Raymond from Stream Gamers. I'm not sure if I said that in the beginning, but for those that want to have a more detailed view of this, that's where you would go to get this from. So I won't be spending too much time, explaining controls and whatnot. I will probably spend some time doing a little bit of it, it's just my nature to do that. There, and we're going to call this wall dash right. I for those that have not seen any of my other videos, I have a very unique way, I guess maybe, or my own specific way in how I do this. We're going to create that, and that's going to be called PU. And that's going to be called upper. So the lower section here, I'm going to remove it in its entirety because I'm going to add something in there later after should I add that now? Should I use a cutout? Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll use a cutout here. So we're going to call that 1 inch. Okay. And then I'm going to leave these edges here all the way around, but that I want gone. So that face is now gone, and you can see we've got this hollowed, looking industrial, what is going to be a light. Okay. So the next step will be what? Let's make our inner walls. That's going to be important for us. In order to not allow the lighting to kind of reflect outside of this, you can do it a couple of ways. One is by texturing, and two is by creating, a true inner wall. So this is just these are just faces, right? These aren't actually, they don't actually have structural parts in them. They're just a face. So I'm going to go to the upper section there, and I'm going to pick on that, and I'm going to go E for extrude, pull that down, and we're going to call that 4 inches. Whoops. And I'm going to call, I thought I said 4 inches. Let's try that again. Okay, there's 4 inches. So I'm doing that, kind of giving us the illusion that, there's a ballast and, whatever else up there that's necessary. You wouldn't need to do that. The other thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to call this face E. I'm going to call this upper inner. And you'll see that this is, for those that haven't seen this before, that's how I do all of this. So the other one is that, did I actually even label that? I don't think it did. Let's do that one, and let's call that what? Wall as for slope. It'll have to be what it'll have to be. Now I can go here and go there and say, now if I make this an inner wall and I were to extrude that, say to 1 inch, it might be a little weird. So what I'm going to do is, instead of extruding it for 1 inch, I'm going to just extrude it, but I'm only going to extrude it for maybe, what's inside here isn't terribly relevant, right? But I want that material thickness, upper and outer, inner and outer material thickness. So I'm going to make that like 1/4 of an inch. I have to make that negative 1/4 of an inch. Okay. So now the reason why I do that is because now when I go to the upper inner section here, I'm going to drag this edge. You'll see I'm going to drag this edge to that edge over there. So if I do EY out there somewheres, and let's call that -4. Is that close? That's going to be close enough. Really, it doesn't really get all the way to the edge. But again, we're not going to look inside there a whole lot, really, right? And I can see this overlapping here, but that's okay. Neither here nor there. Okay. And we've just now extended that inner to include the entirety of that now, right? Okay. So now we're going to extrude the back wall, which we'll do now. Oops, I'm going to select that. So we're going to extrude that E on that plane, -1. We're going to extrude the front wall E on that plane, -1 again. Where's my cursor? I've lost it. Come on, there we go. E on this plane, -1. and right wall. And on this plane, -1. Okay. Whoops, I doubled that up, didn't I? I want that plane, which is right, yeah. E -1. Okay, so we've got this box, like, and there's many different ways of one could have made this box. This isn't the only way, but this is the way that I've come up with and worked out that I'm going to do this one. Each time I do create something like this, I may actually create it differently. You know, that's happened to me many times. So the next thing I want is I want a lens over top of this, right? You know, I mean, I could leave it, but I'm going to show you how to make a lens over this, and then so you can shine the light through that lens. Okay. Before I do that, I should really, I should really create these inners. Because, and I'm doing this for a very specific reason. I'm intending to have oh, I'm on the right one again. I'm intending to have different textures on the inside as I would, let's say, on the outside. Front. Yeah. And then, of course, the back. So I'm just going to go here quickly and adjust this. And again, this, as I said before in other videos, this is for me to do. This isn't something that you must do. The naming convention that I do, I just do that because that's what allows me to keep things straight in my head. You know, how I'm doing, what I'm doing, and why, and all that good stuff. Anyways, here we are. That's kind of an industrial shape for a light. Now we're going to select the back wall inner. So back wall inner. And here's the reason why I name this. So I know which is which in the tree. I'm going to pick that edge, and in this time I'm going to hit EY so I can extrude this way. And my plan or my goal is to go, say, -10. So that takes me right to the edge. Now, if I create a new face out of that, I'm going to be including all of the stuff that covers over here, and I don't want that to be a part of the light. So I have to divide this up a little bit. So the way we do that is while we're selected here, we're going to pick on that edge. We're going to pick on that edge. I've done that backwards, haven't I? We're going to pick on this edge and this edge, and then we're going to go subdivide. Now we get this divider, and if I were to grab this line, whoops. I'm going to grab that line again. Grab this line. I can move this over here and get it close to that edge over there, and I can see very quickly that's a -11. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click this line. I'm going to click this line and right-click and subdivide. I did it backwards again. Isn't that fantastic? Click this line, subdivide. Grab this line and drag it over here, and I know from previous, as I've been working on this, that's 10.5. So now I've got this face in here that's excluding the outer perimeter, and that face is what I'm going to call the lens. And so hit the P key, and that's right there. I'm going to call that lens. There we go. Okay, so we got our lens, we got all of our box and everything else. We're going to put some textures in here. We're going to add some color. Yeah, so what we're going to do before we do anything else is we're going to look at the texturing and the coloring of this. So this is the color of everything that you see here. Every item that you see has that color, you see? So we can just simply say, hey, this color is white. So as to not be confused any longer with the various different entities that show up in this list. Now we know everything here is white. I'm going to bring in a texture, and I've shown this before, but I'll just quickly, so we go import universal scene, back out to my textures folder, which is, I've gone too far. I think I did it again. Yep, texture. This texture is metal tan. So we click that. It's important to make sure you have all three of these check boxes on material. Just as a side note, what we're dealing with here is Blender 4.0, and we are using the exporter 1.3.3. So there we go. We've got our texture in here. Now I'm going to create a new texture, okay, or a new thing here. Before I do that, I want to be in that screen. I want to create a new one. So new, and I'm going to apply the texture to that. Okay, so there we go. Now we've got that made. Now I can go around and just apply this texture to all of the surfaces that are here, okay? With the exception of lens, because lens I do not want to change that. But I want the texture to be applied to every other surface other than the inners. Oops. Now how did that work? I don't want it on that one. I don't want it. Okay, well, we'll have to just manually select them, I guess. I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. I think that's all of it, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I want to apply a texture to that, and I don't want it to be white. Okay? So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to say, I'm going to apply that texture, and that hopefully should apply the texture to everything that we see here. And we do that by going here, and it did not. It clearly did not. It did it on one end. So I'll need to do this individually, apparently. There we go. Not the inner. Yeah. So why did that not apply? Oh, because it still has white in it. Okay, let's get rid of that. Let's put that texture in. Yeah. And then the left wall. I see the white is still in there, so we're going to delete that out. I thought I was clever in doing what I was doing here, but apparently not anywhere near as clever as I think I am. So we'll go back to, I'm just switching it to the object mode so I can delete this out, and then I can add that texture in. So there's the textures. Now I can leave it like that. They look goofy to me because it's really not truly what the texture looks like, and so we correct that by going to shading, and under this UV map, we click on UV map, and we go to layer, and there is the true, the texture. I'm not going to spend time to reorient the texture. As you can see, for example, the texture is running up in this way. I will do this one upper one, just so you can see it, and how it functions and how it works. So that's the texture. Notice how the texture is going in the opposite direction. If I highlight that and I press the U key and I go Smart Projection and I say, okay, it will more often than not turn it into the right orientation. Okay, and you can see that it actually has turned it in the right orientation. Okay, now you see here and here we've got two different things, and that's because this is a part of the upper and this is a part of that. There's ways of getting around that. I won't spend any time doing that. As you create your lights, you're going to create them differently. Anyways, so there's our texture. Now our lens, which is down here, that lens has a white texture to it, okay? We're going to create a new texture thing. So new, we're going to call this one, boom, new. We're going to call that one material, but actually we're going to call this one glass. Because we're going to make that see-through glass-like material, okay? So what we'll do is we'll go here and we'll remove the white, because we don't want the white, we just want the glass texture in there, or the glass, texture. Okay, so surface, we double click on this, this comes up. In the alpha, we're going to type in 0.2. We're going to scroll down, we're going to look for settings. In Blender mode, we're going to set that to Alpha Blender. In here, MSFS material parameters, we're going to select glass. Then we're going to select this, and we're going to set this to 0.2 as well. That should give us a see-through. Now, it might be hard to do that because really, there is nothing else inside there. So I'm going to hide that, and that may not have functioned exactly the way I want it to do. One other thing, incidentally, when you're in here, you should set your day and night. Somewhere is in one of these parameters is day and night. It's right there, day and night. Why can't I select that? Oh, because I removed that, I hid that. Okay. I want this to have its own unique texture. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to go import. I'm going to look for this texture that I have, which is foil. Click on that again, make sure that material is selected. Now we have the material imported selected. So that is all of the interior stuff. Now, I don't have here, I have that one, right? So if I were to now, something has gone goofy on me here. Okay, it's weird. There we go, let's try that again. Okay, so you can see I've got those two selected. I'm going to right click on those two faces and I'm going to merge them in as to one. So they've been dissolved into one face. So I want that face, this face, this face, the other face over here, and the other face, inside face here, all one texture, okay? And right now they're white, okay? So I'm going to start here. I'm going to go like this. No. I'm going to add a new texture in here. There it is. I'm going to say I want that texture to be the metal. Okay. So now I've got the two textures here. I want this one to be gone. How do I get that one gone? There. So with object mode, you're gone. And you can see the texture up there. Now, did I do something not right? I think I did do something not right here. Oh yeah, I picked the wrong one. Okay, that's the problem. I want foil. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to quickly line all of these inners with the right texture. One more. No, I think I've done them all, haven't I? No, I haven't done the right one. I know I haven't done the right one. Okay. So we delete that one out, and finally we put the final texture in. Now this doesn't look right, and it's the primary reason is because we needed to go up here and select this to UV map, and huzzah, there's the kind of the foiling texture look that I'm looking for. Now that can be scaled down to not make it look so profound, right? I mean, you can scale that down using UV editor, right? If I went into here and I went to there, I want to see that so I can show you. Okay, which one am I on? Let's do the front. There we go. So you can see that's the front, and that is the unwrapped version of that wall, right? And that is what the texture should look like. Now I could, am I on the right? Yeah. So I could, you see how that texture is changing, right? So we could do that with it and make it look kind of like that instead of like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave that for you guys to decide how you like these textures to look. I just wanted to show you how to create those two individual textures and how this texture folds into this edge but doesn't encompass the glass or the lens as a part of that. Okay, so now we got to go back here and find out why what's happened to our lens, because our lens is not right. It is glass, so let's go through the parameters one more time and make sure I can see this is not right. This, for some reason or other, it just changes itself at will. I don't understand why, but if I come through here again and look through it again, hopefully I'm able to find a solution to the problem. And then we want to make sure that I got glass. Yes, I got glass. I want the day and night on, but I can't put it on because it's grayed out for some unusual reason. You know what? Let's go to standard, day and night. We're going to leave it like that. We're going to put the lights in and see if all of a sudden that allows us to see through that. Maybe we're able to actually see through, but I'm not able to see it because everything is really dark up there. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to put the lights in. Now, with the object mode selected, Shift A, lights, we're going to use spotlight. And so if I were to go to the front view, there's the light. If I click on this moving tool, I'm going to move this over there. I'm going to make that 5 inches. Okay, I'm going to add one more. Put that over -5. Okay. So those are our lights. If we come here and we select on the light tool here and we pick on a given light and go to the lighting source page, I'm going to change and I'm going to set the radius. Now, before I do that, what I'm going to do before I do that is I'm going to grab all of this and I'm going to lift it all up. Let's call it 30 inches. Likely you're not going to have it lower than 30 inches anyways, but even if you did, it won't matter. And the reason for that is, what I want to also do is I want to go here and I want to go mesh and I want to go plane. What I'm trying to do is I'm going to put a plane in here so that we can actually see, does the light reflect through, okay? So we should be effectively seeing the light reflect through. I'm going to change this to 48, not 480. 48. I'm going to change this to 36 just so it shows us the entirety of everything that we should be seeing in there. So we have lights, and there they are. You can see them. They are bleeding through that lens up there. They are. Okay, so now let's click on that light again. Let's change this to a 3-ish. Let's change this to a 3-ish. Let's change. The next thing I want to do is I want to pull these lights up. So we're seeing the lights, but I suspect we're seeing the light because it's actually not inside. Okay. So if I were to put this back to 0, that's this light. Now if I move that light up, you see how it disappeared? And I'm going to set that to 5. So do you see? So you saw how the light disappeared. However, if I change this back to 3 and increase the intensity, well, previously that had worked. I can see the light there, but for some reason or other, it's not actually shining through. Let's get crazy. Okay, so the radius just needed to be bigger. For whatever reason, that radius is important. So at 3, it wouldn't shine through the glass, but at 5, let's say, it does. At 4, it doesn't. Okay, so that's the trick, regardless of whether it makes sense or not. But that's the trick. I'll move that light up. I'm going to set that to 5. And notice that light has now disappeared. But if I change that to 4, it's still not there. If I go to 5, it starts to appear. If I set it to 100, it's bright. Okay, so that's a light. That light is going to work in 2020, and I'm going to move over to 2020 and get that put in there quickly now. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this because I don't want that there, and I'm going to save the project. Yep. And then I'm going to go here. Yep. Bear with me, I'm going to get ourselves to where we save the project, which is right in here. Yep. And because that project already exists, we'll get rid of it, like so. We'll call this the actual project name. Yeah. We'll make sure we go to settings and we type in texture. That's important. Under the include, we'll make sure we visible objects and those two are selected. And we'll export. And through that export, there's what we've got. I'm going to right click this. Nope. Yep. Paste. And I'm going to copy this. And back in here where my package sources is, we go to package sources, scenery here. This is where I have my model lib directory. I've already put this in here once, but I'm going to remove it again so you can see. Now if I right click and I hit paste, the replacement is because those textures exist in the textures folder already. But there is the fixture. Okay, now we'll minimize this and we'll go into here. Here is the model that we did previously that the person had commented about the light fixture. The light fixture that he was commenting about, which is a really tiny light fixture, is that one. So I created that, but now we're going to put this new one in. Now it's very important when you have the sim up already, it's very important that when you add more elements into that model lib directory, before you do anything else, you need to go in and rebuild the package. Super important. If you don't rebuild the package, it for some reason or other doesn't recognize the new added stuff in the model lib, and then you have to do that all over again. Okay, so there we go. Now we've got that stuff in here. I can then go to scenery editor, properties, no objects, yes. I type in that because that is the ICO code and that is where the package or where all this information resides. Click that. There's the fixture that I added. You can see it. It's on my thing. I see the night and day didn't take effect because I forgot to do it. But there's a spot in there, and I've shown that on my other video. There's a spot in there where under the MFSS utility where you actually pick the night and date. Anyways, click that and you can see that you see how that light changes its intensity based on how far away from the ground you are, as you would expect it to, right? I'm going to change that. I'm going to rotate that to something called 100. I think that's close to what this is. And then I'm going to move that, somewhere's over the door. Yeah, something like it. There you go, something like that over the door. And just, so you can actually see the actual night version of that. There it is. So that's basically it. I'm going to touch base just quickly on, see if I can understand why this did not do as I intended it to do in terms of confused to buy something now again. Oh, look at that. Oh, you know what? I think that is one of my problems right there is I've got this cube in here. So I've got the lens and I get the cube. Anyways, I'm going to leave that alone. So, not properties. Let's go to light. And here, under the Microsoft properties, no, it's not Microsoft properties. I've lost where the, here it is, Microsoft properties. So that's been disabled. Once again, why, I don't know, but I did go here, I did go hit standard, I did hit day and night. My guess is that's the reason why the day and night version isn't working. It didn't take it, and I don't know why. But anyways, glass. See, if I select glass, day and night disappears on me. So that's not an option for me. If I have standard, then day and night comes up. So that's how you do it, right? I'm not going to put more time into this. Hopefully this has been informative. My name is Raymond, Stream Gamers, in conjunction with Canuck Air. I would appreciate a like, comment, subscribe, and all those wonderful things, notification bells, and yada yada yada. To the fellow that had asked me about did I gain these assets anywhere else, I thank you for the question, and hopefully this helps you to understand that the world is your oyster in terms of creating whatever you want to create. A light, a building, your imagination is just that, and you can create all of this stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna call it there. Appreciate your time, everyone. That's my light fixture and how you create a light fixture. Until the next one, bye bye now.